All right, so there's a lot of things wrong with the Lions. We discuss a bevy of them, plus Ben Johnson, division champ.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's good, everybody? Matt Dery with you. It is a Friday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day on a Black Friday, November 28th, into a freaking weekend and a Saturday, November 29th. Thank you for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcasts. Shout out as well to our everyday listeners. We call them our everydayers that check us out daily here on Locked On Lions. We got an Everydayer Club announcement coming soon with, I'm hearing around December 8th, a kickoff of getting all of us together, which should be a lot of fun. We'll let you know what that's all about coming up in just less than a week or in about a week. Locked On Lions today brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5. And if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. We have the PFF grades from yesterday's 31-24 loss to the Packers. We'll tell you the top 5 and bottom 5 Lion performers on offense and defense. We got to discuss what's wrong. Why is this football team struggling so much? Why are they currently, as I record right now, 2 games out of first place? The Chicago Bears, touchdown Bears, they don't lose. This is sickening. This is nauseating. By the way, Matt Dery with you. Thanks for being with us. We'll get into the Bears. We'll talk about Dan Campbell's play calling. Craig Reynolds is gone. Come on, Craig. One last come on, Craig. Right here on Locked On Lions, the number 1 sports podcast network, the Locked On Podcast Network. We've been with you for 10 seasons now, and this one's a new one. This is a different year. There were years when I was doing the show where we knew, right? Quinn and Patricia, this is a joke. They don't have any talent. The players hate the coach. Let's just talk draft. And then we've had the last couple of years under Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell that have been phenomenal, where the teams won 12 games, made it to the NFC Championship game, 30 minutes from a Super Bowl. Last year went 15-2 and dominated and got the 1 seed. This year, this club sits at 7-5 with 5 games to go, and I couldn't even tell you or predict to tell you or even look ahead to how this is going to go these last 5 games. And they're not going to be easy games. Thursday night against Dallas coming up is basically an elimination game. If the Lions lose to the Cowboys and Dallas leapfrogs Detroit in the standings and gets to 7-5-1, and the Lions drop to 7-6, it's probably curtains. It's probably deuces. They got to play the Rams. They got to play the Bears, who are all of a sudden this juggernaut. Minnesota on Christmas Day will not be easy. Pittsburgh is no slouch. They're not great, but they're in first place at the moment. But what's wrong? Why is this team not performing? Number 1, let's talk positive for a second. The Detroit Lions, hopefully, and we won't know until probably tomorrow or Monday when Dan Campbell meets with the media again, or Sunday for that matter. They're getting Frank Ragnow back. And we didn't discuss this a ton yesterday on the show I did following the Thanksgiving Day game, but the announcement that Frank Ragnow is coming back out of retirement is massive for this organization. I don't know if he's going to play on Thursday. I don't know if he'll be ready to play on Thursday. Maybe you're looking at the 14th against the Rams as a realistic date for when the Pro Bowl and All-Pro center can return, but the Lions desperately need him. And for any of you that think that this is Taylor Decker's last year with the Lions, and he's a left tackle that's kind of getting old. He's not. Taylor Decker had played a big role in luring and helping Frank Ragnow decide to come back. All right, so those guys are going to ride this out together. Remember, Ragnow's, now that his contract has been reinstated, has this year and next year. Decker, I believe, is signed through 27. But regardless of that, this team has needed their dominant and all-pro center back. They've needed something in the middle of that offensive line to stabilize the situation. You want to know what is wrong? This team cannot block, and this team cannot get to the quarterback right now or win at the line of scrimmage. It has been their identity since 2022 that the Detroit Lions smash people, that the Detroit Lions injure you. They make you sore. What was it last year and the year before? How many times does a team play the Lions and the next week that team gets blown out because they're so beat up from playing this physical, nasty group of guys, especially up front. This offensive line this season has been below average. The middle of the offensive line has been terrible. I rewatched the game the other day. Did you watch the Micah Parsons sack where he stunts and goes around and up the middle to sack Jared Goff at the 10-yard line? Watch Devontae Wyatt. This is before, actually, it wasn't Wyatt, but it was another one of the D tackles for the Packers. Just obliterates Tate Ratledge so badly that Ratledge is being pushed back, trips up Penei Sewell, who can't block Parsons, who's trying to get around. Like, it's bad. And whether it's Glasgow, Tristan Colon, Coyote Awashika, Ratledge, it's not been working. You put Frank Ragnow back in the middle of that offensive lineman, in the middle of that offensive line, and honestly, to be honest with you, Ratledge, according to PFF, and we'll get you the scores and the grades, didn't do that badly overall yesterday. But it's been those kind of mistakes. This team also has not been able to run the football, the kind of consistency it has in the past. And we've talked about the defensive line, which has been shoddy the last few weeks. They got gouged on the ground yesterday, and 2 weeks in a row now, the quarterback has had all day to throw. Whether it's Jameis Winston, whether it's Jordan Love twice, all right, they need to get better play out of their big guns. They gave DJ Reader $13 million a year. They gave Aleem McNeil over $20 million a year. Aiden Hutchinson's going to be making $40+ million a year. I need performance. All right. I need to see some playmaking out of these particular players. Marcus Davenport was re-signed again. Was his name called yesterday? You look at the Green Bay Packers draft from 2024, and you see a guy like Evan Williams and a guy like Javon Bullard and Edgerrin Cooper. And you look at the Lions draft from 2 years ago. And I'm not downplaying what Brad Holmes did when he started this thing. He's a damn good general manager. But the last 2 years, the drafting, been a little shaky. I saw 3 players from the Packers draft from 2 years ago balling out yesterday. Lions, the last 24 draft, just throwing it out there. Terrion Arnold is not a difference maker. Mahogany's hurt. I get that. But, Vaki and Manu and Rakestraw and not a lot of help. All right. I'm not going to judge this past year's draft, actually, because guys like Tyleik Williams, Tate Ratledge, they're getting their feet wet. It's the first year. I think by the second year, you can judge a draft. The Lions are in third place in this division and now 2 games back of the Bears. I need to see better play. And it starts up front. That was the identity of this football team for a long time. And I read a great article at A to Z Sports today by Mike Payton, does a nice job covering the Lions. We've had him on the pod. All about fourth downs and how Dan Campbell has been a gambling man, and he goes for it on fourth downs, and it doesn't sync or go with this group this year. And Campbell has to adjust to that and take the points. And I agree with what Mike is saying about fourth downs being the problem. They're 0 for their last 7, going back for the last 3 games. But hopefully Ragnow, and it might be too little too late, I don't know, but hopefully a guy like Ragnow just settles everything down on that O-line, and they can get back to executing on fourth downs. Heck, on any of the downs. But they put up 24 points yesterday and took some punches, and the offense did all right. But you give up 31 points, it's because you're not getting to the quarterback. It was too easy of a day for Love. It was too easy of a day for Jacobs and Wilson and those Packer running backs. All right, promise you those PFF grades. We'll also talk about the Bears a little bit. We'll get into some play calling with Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, by the way. All of that coming up right here on Locked On Lions. It is the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network for a Friday following Thanksgiving on the Locked On Podcast Network. And Locked On Lions for today, as we told you, brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. Yes, FanDuel is the home of the NBA. It's back. There's no better place to get in on the action than FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the National Basketball Association. How about your Detroit Pistons? They have played incredible basketball out of the gate here. Cade Cunningham putting up crazy numbers, MVP-type numbers. You want to get in on the action with the Pistons? You can at FanDuel. Even if you missed the start of the game or you want to ride the hot hand, FanDuel has live bets on everything from who will score next to fourth quarter comebacks. Plus, you can even combine your live bets into a same-game parlay for a shot at a bigger payout. It keeps every game exciting, especially when your team's making that late push. Right now, FanDuel is giving new customers $300 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. So head to FanDuel.com to sign up and play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. All right, everybody, Friday edition of Locked On Lions, Locked On Podcast Network. Happy Thanksgiving again. Hopefully your Thanksgiving weekend is good. Got a great day of football coming up tomorrow, of course, with Michigan and Ohio State. And today we saw the Bears knock off the Eagles, which is crazy. Chicago goes into Philly and wins. I want to get into that momentarily. But we do this after each and every game. We go to the PFF grades, Pro Football Focus. Of course, top 5 and bottom 5 Lions from yesterday's 31-24 loss to the Green Bay Packers. The Packers sweep the Lions. It was in what was not a great day on Thanksgiving. Lions have now dropped 4 out of 5 under Dan Campbell on Thanksgiving Day. Let's start with the offense. Who are the best performers for Detroit? Number 5, 5th highest grade was Tom Kennedy. That would be TK85 in your scoreboard, in your scorebook, 69.4 grade. Tate Ratledge was 4th highest at a 71.8, although his pass blocking grade was just a 46. Penei Sewell, 75 grade, 3rd highest. Jared Goff at the 2nd highest grade for the Lions with an 81, and Jameson Williams, a 91.2. Big day for J-Mo yesterday with 7 catches over 140 yards and, of course, a touchdown. Bottom 5 Lions on offense from yesterday, and you had to play at least double-digit snaps in the game. But 5th lowest grade was Coyote Awashika, 54.9, playing left guard. Anthony Ferkser, the backup tight end, 51.1. Tristan Colon at center, a 49.6. So you're starting left guard and you're starting center in the bottom 5. Dan Skipper, 45.8. They put him out there a lot and call him an eligible receiver, but every week his grade is low. And Ross Dwelly, 47 snaps yesterday, starting at tight end for the injured Brock Wright and Sam Laporta, a 44.4. Those are your bottom 5 and top 5 Lions on offense from yesterday's loss to the Packers. On defense, the worst performers. Let's start with that first. 5th lowest, Marcus Davenport, 56.2. 4th lowest, Alex Anzalone, Gaines Media's own, 52.1. 3rd lowest grade was Amik Robertson at a 46.9. He just had a rough day yesterday, especially in the passing game coverage. Thomas Harper, 45.5. They need Kirby Joseph back. And Roy Lopez, 39.3. A rough day from the PFF crowd for the D tackle. And again, I talked about it. It's at the line of scrimmage right now. All right, as far as the highest graded Lions on defense, 5th highest grade was Tyleek Williams, a rookie, at a 69.5. Aiden Hutchinson checking in at a 69.9, although pass rush grade just a 56. Al-Qadim Muhammad, 71.7, 3rd. 2nd highest, Derek Barnes, 73.8. Highest graded defender, and we talked about it yesterday. He had a whale of a game. And he's a stud when his head's on straight, man, and he's just not cheap shotting people. Brian Branch, an 83.2. 2.6. Those are your top 5 and bottom 5 Lions from yesterday's loss to the Packers. Whew. Yesterday sucked, man. Yesterday was bad, to say the least. And this team's got some work to do. They got to get the ship righted and quickly, or else we're looking at draft talk a lot earlier than we thought so. I mean, this team's there, right? They're in playoff contention. They're not out of it. They're right there, but they got to string together some wins and do so in a hurry. By the way, the Lions will finish at best this year 3-3 in the division. That would be their best finish, would be 3-3. They've already dropped. They're 1-3 in the division with 2 to go. Lions haven't finished with a winning record. The Lions haven't finished with a losing record within the division since Dan Campbell's first year back in 2021. That's from our crack research staff. Ben Johnson and the Bears have done it again. In case you missed it earlier today, Chicago goes into Philly, and wins on Black Friday 24-15. The Bears are now 9-3 and are a half game behind the Rams for the best record in the NFC North. Today, Chicago, despite a Caleb Williams 57 passer rating game, ran for 281 yards on the Eagles. Ben Johnson is doing what Dan Campbell used to do here. Ben Johnson, I don't want to do the Ben Johnson topic, but my God, Monungai ran for $130 and a tutty. DeAndre Swift ran for 125 and a touchdown. 281-87. The Bears outgained the Eagles on the ground after starting 0-2. 0-2. The Bears have won 9 of their last 10. If I see that good, better, best video one more time, I swear to God, I'm going to throw up. But you know Ben Johnson and the boys are doing it in that locker room. Bears, man, what the hell? They are playing like the Lions. They are playing like the Lions did the last few years. They're torching people, and they're winning at the line of scrimmage. Their offensive line upgrades have been better than I thought they'd be. 281 on the ground today in Philly against that defense in this economy? That's impressive. Okay, let's talk about yesterday and play calling. And I understand where fans are right now, and a lot of people feel like, man, ever since Dan Campbell took over the play calling, it's been a mess. And ever since St. Brown did the Trump dance, it's been a mess. Those sorts of things that you could point to. Okay, yesterday, the 4 straight Jahmyr Gibbs runs, including the halfback dive out of the shotgun on 3rd down, and then Goff checking down to the same play on 4th and short at midfield, was absolutely ridiculous. And that falls at the feet of Dan Campbell and on Jared Goff. All right. To me, when the Lions are under center and they're lined up in 12 personnel and they're going to Montgomery or they're going to Gibbs, they're so much better off than when they're out of the shotgun and on a 4th and 3, you're asking Jahmyr Gibbs to run 7-8 yards to get 3. Those were 2, that 3rd down call and the 4th down call in that game yesterday against the Packers. I think it was the 3rd quarter. Those were atrocious play calls. The other 4th down that they missed was a great call and should have worked. Jared Goff rolled right. He had room to run for the 1st down, or he could hit Jamison Williams for an easy 1st down. That wasn't play calling. That was execution. And you take Amon-Ra St. Brown out of the game yesterday, and I'm not making excuses on injuries. The Packers didn't have Tucker Kraft yesterday. Packers didn't have Jaden Reed yesterday. Packers didn't have Lucas Van Ness yesterday. And they lost to Devontae Wyatt middle of the game. His leg snapped in half. I don't want to hear about injuries. But I will bring up that at one point yesterday on the field, you had Awashika, Cologne, Dwelly, Horton on the field. Zach Horton's playing fullback. The guy was not on the team a week ago. Brought back to the practice squad out of Indiana. Anthony Ferkser was on the street a week ago. But when you call these plays, when you know you are short-staffed a little bit, there's got to be a creativity factor. There's got to be a wherewithal and a know on where on time and place. And yesterday, wild golf hitting J-Mo should have worked. Lions trailing 31-21 at that point, needed the points from Jake Bates and did not get them. And I think Dan Campbell, while I love the identity and the fourth down stuff, has got to dial it back. He's got to dial it back a little bit. He doesn't have the personnel he's had the last few years to be able to do this stuff. And especially now if St. Brown doesn't play Thursday against Dallas, I'm all about being aggressive. But if you got points there that you can take, I think he's got to do it. I think he's got to start taking some points because he's got a damn good kicker. He does. All right, one of our favorite players, maybe our favorite player on this podcast, is gone. The Lions waived him, tried to sneak him back onto the practice squad, and somebody else picked him up. We will talk about that coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions. Don't forget, everybody, to check out those Locked On Lions squad shows a couple times per week and following the game live on YouTube with our main man, Jake Riepma, along with the former Lion coach and player Bradford Banta and Natalie Kerwin, who you see from FanDuel Sports Detroit or Bally Sports Detroit or Fox Sports Detroit. I don't know what they're calling it. I just know she's on the Piston broadcast and does an excellent job on those sideline reports. Check them out, Lions Squad Show, right here on the Locked On Podcast Network and on Locked On Lions, the #1 sports podcast network. All right, so for the last few years, if you've watched the show, if you've listened to the show, you know, and we've had him on the show, that our favorite player on this show is Craig Reynolds. All right, and when I was at Detroit Sports 105.1, the now defunct Detroit Sports 105.1 many years ago, we had a sponsor named Craig Minnelletti. He was I believe still is, a real estate man and real estate agent. And Craig Minnelletti I would do the commercials for Craig, and I was always say, come on, Craig, just like the movie Friday. You know, Craig, Debo, Smokey, the whole thing, and then Craig fights Debo. Come on, Craig, and his dad says, come on, Craig, put the gun down, son. Come on, Craig. So Craig Reynolds joins the Lions, and we start doing Come On, Craig on this show. And Craig Reynolds played a really nice role for this team over the last few years as a backup running back. All right. Nobody was saying that Craig Reynolds was a great player by any stretch of the imagination, but very good special teamer, great guy. And a couple of years ago, I was talking to the Lions, and they're like, we got to put Craig on the show. And we put Craig on the show, and he was great. We told him about Come On, Craig. He knew about it. And recently, due to all the roster spots that the Lions have had to fill with injured players coming back, like DJ Reed and others, because the Lions have Sione Vaki and they've got decent depth at running back right now, they elected to release Craig Reynolds. Now, a lot of times these players get waived or they get released, and they can clear waivers, come back to the team, and they're on the practice squad. And that's kind of what I thought was going to happen with Craig Reynolds. But instead, today, Come On, Craig is no more. Craig Reynolds has signed with the New England Patriots. First of all, congratulations to him. Kutztown State, son of a coach, all-around great guy. And the Lions love him. I know they do. But he found a new home. He couldn't sneak through waivers, couldn't get back on the practice squad, couldn't be activated for games. Craig Reynolds is gone as he is signed with the Patriots to be on their active roster. And good for him. Good for Craig Reynolds, because the New England Patriots, as we know right now, are having a great year. 10-2. They've won 9 in a row. Best record in the NFL. And so Craig Reynolds is getting an opportunity to go to New England, and we wish him all the best of luck. And one last time, ladies and gentlemen, come on, Craig. Just the man. So sad day, but excited for him that he's getting an opportunity to go to a very good team And this is life in the NFL. A lot of guys get waived. Hopefully, based on timing and everything else, they can come back and be on the practice squad. Then you bring them back up to the roster. It happens all the time. Just ask Dan Skipper. Just ask Andre Fluellen, who we had on the show a few weeks ago, who was cut by the Lions like 10 times. But Craig Reynolds now no longer a part of the Lions roster. And we told you this earlier. We're going to have a short week again next week as the Lions for Thursday Night Football on Amazon, Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit. And I'm assuming Fox 2 or Channel 7. Someone's going to pick it up locally. It's not going to just be on Amazon. If you don't have Amazon, you're going to be able to watch the game locally. My guess, again, is it will be on Fox 2. Detroit at 7-5, Dallas at 6-5-1. Cowboys have rattled off 3 straight wins, and that includes back-to-back wins over Philadelphia and Kansas City. Both of those teams were in the Super Bowl last year. And you think the Lions offense is explosive and they put up a lot of points. Dallas has scored the most points in the NFC. 351 to the Lions 350. Dak, George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams. Cowboys are starting to show a pulse and play pretty good football. And now that Philly has lost today, they're 8-4, and the Cowboys are 6-5-1, a game and a half back. One back in the loss column. Thursday night's game is basically an elimination game. Lions lose this game, get to 7-6, and Dallas leapfrogs them in the standings. That's trouble. I said the Lions needed to win this Thanksgiving Day game. They didn't. Now they've got to win on Thursday. And Dallas has been a wagon offensively. Dak is playing great ball. But that defense of Dallas, a little shaky. You can move the ball on them. Let's hope that's what the Lions do coming up on Thursday. All right. Great week, everybody. Appreciate all of you. Happy Thanksgiving once again. We're back again on Monday with a fresh week of Locked On Lions. Marcus Mosher from Locked On Cowboys. He and I will do the crossover next Wednesday right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Have a great weekend, everybody.